Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Maul or Nothing with Ryan and Max in this incredible studio we're in and some fabulous guests. In fact, hopefully, fingers crossed, we have got some serious firepower this week. We've got Matt Giteau taking us through Wales versus Australia. We've got Schalk Brits to talk about that epic match between South Africa and Ireland. And we've got, well, Ryan's best musical pal ever,
Jack Parow, man. You're lekker. You wait. You're going to love this bloke. He is out there.
There is a bit of something for everyone, and indebted to the Bristol Bears for putting us up in this wonderful studio. Ryan, prefer it to the shipping container?
I think the shipping container was probably more us boys. But listen, it shows where we're going with
it. Was very
We're taking
rustic.
this seriously, right? We're taking this seriously.
Yeah, I know.
And what is the most incredible thing of all is who was late in Bristol. So you came from London. I came from Glasgow, effectively, but I was in Wales. So I've been Glasgow, Wales. And Max still managed to be late. Who are you blaming it on?
My schedule was just jam-packed today.
We
It just went over a little bit. Yeah, you were watching all day, but did you just see the amount of detail, the incredible in-depth theory of rugby that we have to absorb?
Well, before we won't go too much into it because we're going to talk about it later, but I did actually get a little catch up with Pat. Do you know that?
Did you actually?
No,
you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, God, really? This is not good.
Well, actually, quickly, let's just go into, because catch up is a funny term. He had a catch up. Max was discussed. Ryan asked for a job.
Did you actually? Did you throw the CV in there? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you
everything.
actually? Oh my God!
Are you retired, mate? No, sabbatical, mate. I was like, you looking for any sixes? Run a good line out. He was like, I thought you were retired. And I was like, no, not retired, mate. But I also asked him about your timekeeping, and he said, he comes up with some good excuses, and I was like, what, we won't give too much away because there's some good content we've captured today, but I said, excuses of when you're late, you crash your car in a ditch just because you're worried about being late. And he was like, oh, no, I don't know about that one. But yeah, we had a little catch up, man, Pat.
That's one of my favourite stories, that one with Joe Smith. Yeah.
Easy. Just literally park your car in a ditch and pretend you've crashed it. That's a good way to go. But yeah, no, nice bloke. Some setup you've got there. But...
Oh, it's delightful, isn't it?
Unbelievable. It was like a 5-star resort.
Max, I can't believe it.
What was your favourite bit?
Probably the fact that the chef was knocking up ready meals for everyone to take home.
Oh, did you see that lovely peri chicken? Perfectly cooked, moist.
What about
the juicy bird?
Biltong box.
Yeah.
Biltong box, mate. You boys are so...
He's got it down to an art. He's like Heisenberg of curing meats, and he also does incredible pickles. Loves a good ferment. Does a good kimchi, that man. Yeah, I know.
I
Wild.
Honestly, but no excuses for you boys not to win the Prem this year after me going around there. After me walking around that place.
That's part of the problem, isn't it?
That's it. You're getting too bloody comfortable.
God. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we need to go back to gruel or make the first place. When I first got it, we were training out at Clifton Rugby Club. Yeah. Very rustic, very old school. A Nat 2 rugby club, like proper clubhouse. Just like the mats, they're like tacky, sticky.
Ringworm everywhere.
From just pints being spilt left, right, and rhubarb. Wonderful.
I was very
prison showers as well.
Very impressed. And what's lovely. Explain who your bloody kit man is as well.
I thought you knew this.
No, I had no idea.
The great JP, Junior Paramore. Terrifying bloke.
I couldn't actually believe it when he came out. And what a lovely bloke.
What I will say is when he wants your bib, you give it to him. Hands like anvils.
He shook my hand. It enveloped.
You're
and
you're
like so small.
I'm fine, man.
What a lovely bloke. Yeah, no, I enjoyed my day today. We had a lovely time with Mark, just kicking about Bristol Bears.
He's a legend.
I was very, very impressed.
Woo! We are delighted to be joined by friend of the show in former Springbok legend Schalk Brits. Schalk, how you doing?
I am absolutely phenomenal, guys.
And it's great to see you. I think last time you were chatting to the three of us, you were on a stag do on a golf course on a Monday at about 10 a.m.
Yeah, it is important to enjoy life. Don't take life too seriously. The round of golf was phenomenal.
They loved that, didn't they? They loved that. But You're on our new show, by the way. Did you knew that we've got a new show? This is Maul or Nothing. Maul or Nothing. Say it,
Maul
Matt.
or nothing.
So we've gone over to the
Who
dark
was
side.
the creator of this?
I found the name.
Name.
Well, Max is going to try and take.
I'm going
the
to take.
plaudits,
I'm
but-
going to take credit, but I used ChatGPT to create the name. AI created us.
The kids of today, mate.
Oh my
world's
God.
ruined. The world's ruined.
Skynet is real.
Let's not get stuck on the name. Let's dive straight into it, shall we?
Exactly. Schalk, talk us through. I mean, to the neutral and to the rest of the world, that was possibly one of the most intense and best test matches of all time. How did you see it from a South African angle?
Well, firstly, I must say, for let's look at Ireland with Annie Farrell. I always thought they had a soft underbelly previously, but at the way they played and the belief they've got, Andy gave them a way to beat the big team, right? I mean, they went to New Zealand, won a tournament, and it was just a phenomenal result for them. From a South African perspective, we weren't clinical enough. And there's certain things that didn't went our way in this particular game. We couldn't create scoreboard pressure.
Let's talk about Lebok and Dion Fourie. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Dion Fourie is up to snuff to play hooker at this level going forward in the World Cup?
Look, Dion started his last game, I think, in 2018. And it is hard to play at that level if you get something in the world and be under pressure. He's a phenomenal rugby player, but I think as the World Cup gets on, he'll get better at it and play his role within the bomb squad. Marnie is extremely creative, but it's hard to create scoreboard pressure if you don't kick the ball over.
So do you start Pollard then? Do you start Pollard next?
The noise coming out of the camp is, listen, we're backing Marnie, whatever comes. But I reckon they will play Polly this weekend, see how it goes, and maybe use Marnie from the bench. He's such a creative player, such a talent. The backline moves better with him. They feel if they're more in how can I say, fluid in an attack. And it's just a great rugby player. And unfortunately, he isn't kicking as he should, or maybe they must give the responsibility to Puff.
Slight problem, Schalk. There's no space on the bench for backs. So how is he going to be on the bench?
But maybe change the 7-1 to 6-2 split then.
We chatted about this last week, Scott, and I think all of us absolutely love the innovation. We love the bomb squad. We love the 7-1 split. We think, why not? What do you say to people moaning about it and saying it's not fair? Because there was a few people, the pundits talking about it as well, still saying, oh, it's not fair, shouldn't do it, it's against the game. Like, crazy, eh? That if you can do it and it's not against the rules, why not?
100%. One thing about Rassie is he will definitely push the limits. He'll innovate. We've tried a lot of different things with Rassie when I was involved, and he'll keep on pushing the limits. For those that is the looking at it from a negative perspective, well, it's within the rules. If you don't like it, go suck a ball.
Yeah, well, actually, thinking about that, you almost innovated the hookers dropping back like the number 8s used to, right? So that you would have been one of those guys that could play in the backs, because I remember that they used to stick you in the backfield because of your step.
I was just an ambitious hooker. Didn't want to do the hard yards and just actually look flashy, I would say. If I had the size of Max, I would rather want to do the stuff in the front, but I didn't have that kind of biceps he's got.
You never wanted that. You don't want that. No, absolutely not.
We watched him at training today, mate. He didn't do much.
Yeah. Yeah, man, they came down and watched me just stand around and breathe really hard. But yeah.
So, Scott, where were you watching it? Who were you watching it with? And what was the atmosphere like?
Well, I was in Pretoria, of all places, the capital of brandy and coke in South Africa. We were watching it outside in, under the moon, and we were singing together the national anthem, 700, 800 people, and I don't think there was one Irish supporter in the whole crowd.
And what were the reactions like after? Like, genuinely, what's the feeling like in South Africa after losing to the Irish? Because, listen, you've lost games in World Cups before and still come through and won them. So what's the feeling like back there?
I think there was a lot of aggression towards, well, aggression is probably the wrong word, is towards the kicker not getting the points. Look, the game itself, we had a lot of 22 entries. We had enough opportunities to have a go. And we weren't on our best on that particular day. And I think one thing Russia will do is try to focus and make sure that we get that right from the next game, and then hopefully quarterfinal France.
What about that moment where James Lowe goes low on Eben Etzebeth, picks him up, and basically starts like carrying him round?
Yeah,
and then they took Eben straight off after. They didn't give him the chance to go back.
Yeah, just to start ruckusing. Just.
Because that was
the moral. Frothing from the mouth.
Yeah, fully.
Can you imagine how angry he would be?
Mate, that guy's alpha everywhere he goes, and he got out-alphaed by a winger. He must have been losing it inside.
Knowing Etzebeth as you do, what would Eben have been thinking at that moments before he was kind of dragged off?
I can see you saying like firstly the shock, and then second, I guess you have to be put back on the ground. You can't keep the guy in the air. But if you look on the game itself, and this is why I was quite negative about Ireland going into the World Cup. I said they're going to exit quarterfinal.
I think that was on the golf.
Yeah.
You made that prediction.
The golf. A few brandies and cokes in.
Hey, it can still happen, guys.
Oh, Scotland, flower, yeah.
Look, Ireland is, for me, the first couple of quarter of the game. They got physically outmuscled, right? They look like anything bunnies bouncing off the South African boys. But the way they then compose themselves and change their pattern from lineup perspective, they lost 4 or 5 lineups in a row. They changed their strategy around the lineup. The way they attack our attacking rucks, just a phenomenal, well-coached side and with a team that's got belief. And they come to solutions within the game. They fix, and this is, I wouldn't say that from previous Ireland sides, but this Ireland side is unbelievable, and that's the reason why they're number 1 in the world.
You think you boys have got it in you? You think you can still go and win the World Cup?
100%. I still think we can do it. Unfortunately, the biggest loss we've got, and the one guy I thought going into the World Cup we shouldn't lose, is Malcolm.
That was huge.
A big loss for us.
Massive.
Yeah, and obviously you played his position. Like, why is he? Everyone's talking him up at the moment as the best player in the world, right? What makes him so good, Sculler?
Well, he is just a rich man's Max, right? So he's got he's as big.
He's like big, but he's actually good. Yeah.
Rich man. He can scrum and he can throw in.
And he can drink a lot of piss as well. I've seen him do that.
Oh my goodness, Ryan. He's got a bottomless pit. and the best part about Malcolm is he's a phenomenal rugby player, like probably one of the best hookers in the world. But the value and within the group is great. He's a great guy. Doesn't create any. He's just a lekker bloke to play with.
Lekker bloke.
But
is that a dress rehearsal for the final for you now?
It might be.
It felt like it though, didn't it? Yeah. It was the two daddies finding out who was the biggest daddy. That was the gravity of the game. Like, everyone knew what was going on. We had like world-class players on each side who like, I'm the man. No, I'm the man. And it was all going on. We had Delande just doing weird things to poor Irish backs. Johnny Sexton wore one. Ringrose got in trouble. But then you had like moments with like James Lowe in that. And then that Irish breakdown hygiene, like, it's so good, like, off the ball. That's where South Africa were just dominating Scotland. Slow ball. Finn Russell can do a thing, but Ireland's breakdown is just different gravy. Oh, man, it was so good.
That first 5 minutes, like, first 5 minutes, you was just like,
everyone knew what was going down.
Body was sore watching it.
Yeah.
And then talk about the atmosphere at the end. Like, you must have picked that up, or did you turn the TV straight off, before, like, when it got to the end, or did you take that because like the singing and stuff in the stadium?
Oh, cramp. Oh.
I would answer this in 2 parts. Firstly, on what Ireland did well is technically look at how they stopped our quick ball is they were so clever in tackling Faf and then lie on top of him and make sure that he can't get quick to the right. So the way they took our attack apart or slowed the ball down was just very clever. And then secondly, on the Irish report, I love the Irish. They are great singers. They are great beer drinkers. And it looked unbelievable to be there and watch the game, irrelevant if you're South African or an Irish supporter. Those songs they sang afterwards without the worst singing voice, I would have jumped in and go as loud as I
it was
could.
class, wasn't it? When that tune came through, Cranberry Zombie. Wow, that was majestic. It's like an iconic moment for this World Cup. It will forever be. Like, it was so beautiful. It was quite sacred. Yeah, it was amazing.
Schalk, do we think that South Africans would rather be playing France or New Zealand in the quarterfinal?
Most South Africans do not like playing in a quarterfinal because we've lost more than one against New Zealand. But going into this World Cup, it was Rusty's viewpoint has never played those. The 50-50s go for those nations. That's why I think that the aim and the focus was to beat Ireland and play New Zealand in the quarterfinal. With the point being out, it might be a totally different game.
Prediction for a France-South Africa quarterfinal, please, Schalk.
Once again, I'm going to back our boy, and I'll probably go 28-22.
I'll be honest. I had.
Okay, can I motivate that?
Yeah. God, yeah. Go on.
The one thing that Ireland does, or not Ireland, France does, is they kick the ball long. And a couple of years ago, we didn't have those exciting backs to counter-attack. And now we've got those exciting backs, and we've got Marnie at 10 running. And so from that perspective, I think they've got France is very, very tough in the pack. I think we can match them, but we've got very exciting backs to carve a bit of the defence open.
Brilliant. Well, Schalk, thank you so much for your time. Have a great trip over with the family. Good luck against probably what looks like the hosts in what promises to be an absolute belter of a quarterfinal, if everything goes the way we think it will. Scotland aside, in Paris. But, thank you very much for your time, mate.
Do not throw Scotland away.
Ooh.
No, hey, yeah, thank you.
For Fiji.
Firing yet, but that's a big game, right?
Huge. So you reckon we might be able to do it? Beat the Irish?
Let me think about it. Probably not.
No.
Don't throw them away. You're going to lose, but...
Is he still with us? Hey, Scully, just a quick one. We've obviously got Jack Parow coming on. You got anything you want us to send him a message or anything? Because we've heard he's pretty loose, but you just, when we told you he was coming on, you seemed worried for us.
But whoever decided he's going to be on this should get a kick under his bum, because you do not know what's going to come out of his mouth in the next second.
That is why we've got him coming on in a minute, so I can't wait. Jack Parow.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time, Schalk.
Cheers,
Thanks,
boss.
chaps. Lots of love.
Well, we are delighted to be joined by the one, the only Wallaby star of rugby all around, one of the greatest men ever, Matt Giteau, who unfortunately had to spend the weekend with Ryan Wilson. So it's almost, I feel that there might be a bit of disappointment.
It was only one night. We spent one night together. That was it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it
Woof.
was very underwhelming.
Yeah, only because you had a podcast to do last night and you weren't properly sending it.
Yeah, that was a very tough one to do.
Not even 24 hours ago, we were both in the arse end of Wales. Now you're over in Paris and I'm in Bristol in a studio. Hey, how life works, gents.
Incredible. Yeah.
World's time.
I didn't expect you to be wearing that hat, I'll be honest, Skits.
I don't see too many more opportunities to wear it. Only got one more week.
One more week, you reckon?
I mean, losing this game probably brought out, I suppose, the glaringly obvious hole that we're in. I think since 2015 till now, 33, we've won 33 tests out of 86. But more often than not, we've had good performances at the World Cup, which has glossed over probably some of the cracks that we've had in rugby for a while. So I think while it hurts, a lot of the supporters are suffering, a lot of the players are obviously suffering as well. This did need to happen, I think, for us to become a strong nation in the rugby world again.
Yeah, that's what people are talking about. But should he have been trialling the young guys and trying to build a squad during the World Cup? Should he not have gone with the strongest team he could have put out there and then done it after the World Cup? What he's trying to do now?
Exactly. That's what we were talking about this last night. The pinnacle of our sport is Rugby World Cup. That's the one you want to win. You don't build in a Rugby World Cup tournament.
Yes, well.
While these guys are going to get some great experience, I still think you have to choose the best 33 players that you've got available to give yourself a chance to be, we were pretty lucky without being disrespectful to anyone else in the pool. But on our side of the draw, it's a lot easier than on the other side. And it's the same for England as well. So we had a really good opportunity to potentially get through to the semi-finals without challenging or playing any of the top 5 teams. So, yeah, personally, to answer your question, I would have picked you got to pick the best players, the best team you've got. This is a global event. Everyone, even people in Australia that don't usually follow rugby, are going to tune in on a World Cup. Yeah. So, yeah, I personally would have chosen a lot more experience. Not a lot more, sorry. I would have just had a bit more experience sprinkled in there.
Like who?
Iceman. Iceman's got to go.
Well, everyone talks about it. Obviously, Hoops, Michael Hooper, Quake Hooper, I think Bernard Foley, one of those two. Bernard just came off the back of winning Kubota's first title in Japan. He's a big game player. He scored all the points. They beat Panasonic, so he had the form. He never really got an opportunity.
By all accounts on Twitter, or X, he was frothing last night.
Yeah. He doesn't go on social media. So, one, he was obviously feeling the pain of everyone. And two, I think he was pretty pissed. So, I've not spoken to him.
Pissed or piss as in angry or piss as in a few beers?
No. Drunk. Sorry, not pissed off. He was I'm assuming.
He was pissed in both senses.
It didn't have to be this way.
It didn't have to.
Yeah, but that's it, Matt. He actually tweeted it didn't have to be like this, and which has been viewed all around the world. But in a way, the fact that you only took, or Eddie Jones only took one fly half in Carter Gordon, and then didn't even start him in this crucial match. What does that tell you about the kind of mentality that went into this must-win game with Wales?
I don't know. And I think that's the most confusing part at the moment, is that when Eddie gets prompted and asked on a few questions, and I've got a tremendous amount of respect for Eddie. I think he's a great coach, works super hard, great fella. But the press conferences have turned into a bit of a circus. Like when they want to ask questions and press on certain things,
he shuts them down.
He'll turn it around. The media get their great little weird quote and their clickbait and all that stuff, but the questions aren't answered. So I think that's where the frustration from the Australian rugby public comes from, is not actually getting those answers and wondering, what was the plan? Was World Cup, obviously you want to win, but was it an opportunity to give these kids some experience in a World Cup and build through to the World Cup, the next World Cup, which I think is a lot of time. And I would never waste a World Cup to build a team. But if it's that, just tell the public. And then our expectations are obviously going to be lower, and we can actually view, like the way they're playing, you can view the game a little bit differently when you know what the plan is.
Exactly that, but then almost defying it by not even getting, not even bringing Carter Gordon in. How is this going to affect kind of this guy at the start of his career when it seems like the hopes of the next World Cup will be on his shoulders?
It hurts. You're probably going to feel a bit embarrassed, I think, but you can't wait for the next season to come around. As soon as you get into it and you start playing good rugby, you'll start feeling good again. I don't think he'll have too much overhang, personally. I think it would have been beneficial to have some seniority after that Fiji game. Even some guys on the field when we're starting to get behind by Wales, and it looks like the game was getting away from us. It didn't seem like we were all on the same page there. We're all individually trying to get the team back into the game, rather than once you've got experience and cool, calm heads, you can have a game plan, something for everyone to follow.
But tell us a bit more about the mentality in the Aussie camp. When you're watching a match and world-class player like Samu Kerevi, arguably in many sort of rugby experts' world team of the year when he's on form, but having such a bad game himself, does that tell you a little bit about what was going on in everyone's heads?
I mean, bad games happen. I think what you want to see is that desperation, that fight. And I think for that last part of the game, sadly watching it looked like, not that we gave up, because I don't want to say that about the current group, because they do care. You see afterwards they're crying and it meant a lot to them, but it just, I don't know, it just seemed like we'd kind of lost a bit of fight there at the end, which was probably a bit disappointing.
This poor bloke last night, imagine we were in the arse end of Wales, weren't we? You've got 60 Welsh.
It was lovely though. Lovely place.
It was actually beautiful. And I backed you up. I said I thought the Aussies were going to win. And that came back to bite me in the arse. But he's nearly had a scrap with some bloke because he called some bloke a prick. But the bloke thought he called him a Brit. And the man thought that was more offensive, being called a Brit.
Yeah, no, at the start, because he was dancing and, we won, blah, blah, blah. And I said, it was all in good fun. And I said, I'll piss off, you prick. I thought I said brat this morning. I was like, what did I actually say? Anyway, I said, piss off, you prick. He's gone, I'm joking, just call me.
Oh,
I said,
God.
a prick. He said, oh, that's all right. I thought you called me a Brit. I wouldn't call anyone a Brit.
It was a tough old night. I've even got that picture of you in that Welsh shirt. Some poor bloke made him.
Oh, no.
Well, he didn't make me. We just thought, I knew we'd do it. Jumping on the bandwagon. I can get on a bandwagon.
He was on the bandwagon straight away whilst this bloke was sitting at a Land Rover event with his top off. With his gut out.
Is this like is this sort of the end product of a sort of steady decline in rugby union in Australia, though? Is it a symptom of a larger problem?
Yeah, definitely. 33 wins out of 86 tests since 2015. So it's almost culturally, we're winning 1 in every 3. Like, winning's a habit and it can become a culture. Losing's exactly the same. You just can't close out games. You get a bit nervous. Like, it's a trained habit. So we are in a big rebuilding phase. We need, I just think we need stability there.
Yeah.
Like, there's talk of Eddie potentially did an interview with the Japanese team and he's going to leave Australia when we've just signed him on a 5-year deal after getting rid of Dave Rennie, paying Dave Rennie out. Like, I just think we're making really quick decisions to almost quiet the media. Whereas I think we've just got to be happy to take a bit of criticism, believe in the plan, believe in where we're going to take the team. And then hopefully for 2025, we've got the British and Irish Lions. We need these boys firing, and then they'll get some confidence, and then that'll build again into the World Cup when we're hosting in 2027.
I suppose
and that's just my opinion, mate.
Oh, yeah. What I was alluding to, how does rugby union in Australia contend with the monstrous sort of NRL and the AFL in terms of in both those sports, especially in Victoria, the AFL obviously attracts a large proportion of incredible athletes, and then obviously NRL now is superstardom in Australia. How does the ARU sort of get more catchment and a grassroots level of attracting?
I really don't know.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? That's
My kids are the same. Rugby's not even a conversation. And the kids know that I play it, but I'm never going to push them. You want the kids to do whatever they, whatever makes them happy and whatever they want to do. But that's just an example of where rugby's at the moment. It's not overly popular. It's on standard subscription, so it's not really free to air, even your Super Rugby stuff. So I don't know. We've got to try and get that connection with, with the Australian public. But winning obviously helps that. You've got league, AFL, soccer, rugby. If one code's not performing well, you can easily support something else over there. So, yeah, it is tough at the moment.
Matt, speaking of winning, I don't want to sort of hammer you too hard on this, but the last time you played Wales at the end, the end of season, it was your end of season tour with Dave Rennie at the helm in an incredibly exciting game which it wasn't for you at the weekend. You won that, and then fast forward to a far more crucial stage, and you put on an unrecognizable performance. And the main thing that has changed is obviously the head coach.
And I think a lot of the players too. You would have had a bit more experience there with Dave Rennie's team.
It would have been interesting to see if Rennes went with, with his squad that went over there. I'll try and do a little bit of background digging and see if I can get the squad he would have taken. But I'm telling you, he would have gone for experience. He wouldn't have tried to build in the middle of the World Cup.
Well, not really when he got signed to build for this World Cup.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be building for the next one because no one's going to sign Dave Rennie on an extension to the next World Cup. So he would pick his best squad. So I think with Eddie, he got a 5-year deal. So potentially he could have been building for the next World Cup.
The Aussie public, though, they're behind Eddie Jones now. Are they behind him because they're looking, right, let's look at the longer plan? I've seen a couple of clips flying about, and it feels like he's almost won them over. And listen, we're building now. This is it. So is he in there for the long haul?
I thought he was. Like, he's signed a 5-year deal. But then you're hearing about this Japanese deal that he's off, or the team that he interviewed for. I don't know. Like, I'm not in the inner sanctum. I'm like everyone else. You watch the media, you see what's going on, and you're not getting any answers. So there might be a big sit-down press conference where Eddie can just say, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, and then the Australian public can get behind it. But at the moment, it's like the media and Eddie are butting heads, and we're not getting any clarity. Like, we're not seeing what the plan is.
What would be the public reaction to Eddie choosing to become head coach of Japan now?
Well, that'd be huge because you look at the players that he left out. Even he did an interview and he was saying a young group, I don't think I could brought this senior guy through. So, which is weird because if you're just going to you're not bringing a senior guy on, you're bringing him along to the World Cup, then you can get rid of him. So that comment in that press conference kind of alluded to the fact that this World Cup, obviously we want to do as well as we possibly could, but I don't think it's his goal. And if it isn't, just be open and honest and tell the public, and that almost support it in a different way, if that makes sense. I kind of feel like for the fans as well, there's people that come over on those tour groups, hoping to definitely thinking that at a quarterfinal, I'll get to support Australia, pay good money.
Fuck yeah.
It's just tough at the moment. And I feel for the players too, the young group. They don't have that experience.
That's so true, Ace.
They've got the weight of an expectation on them.
So many people have booked to come over for quarters and stuff because they would have thought, we'll get out of it, we'll be all right. And then suddenly they turn up and they're not even in there. I thought for sure we're going to be in the quarterfinal. Like, it was just whether we're first or second, I was thinking.
So there'll be thousands of fans from Australia who've paid fortunes to come halfway across the world to Marseille or Paris and will end up just not watching their own team.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a gamble when you buy it. When you buy your tickets, you don't know that, who's going to go through, what's going to happen. But I think the expectation definitely would be that we would have made the quarters. I mean, France is still an amazing country. You can still enjoy it. Buy yourself a Fijian jumper.
Yeah. Yes. There he is. I love that, Gits. I want to see a picture of you in a Fijian shirt over the next few weeks down in France, mate. What's the plans then for now then? You're down to Toulon, are you?
Yep, head to Toulon tomorrow. They look after Drew Mitchell. He's drinking pretty heavily. He needs to be held. I'm the man for him. So we'll just chill in Toulon.
Final one for you, Matt. As sadly Australia looks like they probably won't be in the knockout stages, where do we see this one ending up now? Who do you see winning the whole competition?
I think that's the beauty of the competition, is that you could say if you woke up tomorrow and they said, New Zealand won, you'd say, okay. If it was South Africa, yeah. Like, there's 5 teams where you genuinely believe that if they turn up on the day, they can win the World Cup. I've been super impressed with Ireland, though. That was a really impressive game. What's going to be tough is being able to put in a similar performance against Scotland, because I think Scotland, they're just unlucky they're in such a tough pool because they're playing some good rugby. They've got a really good squad. I think a lot better than the squad in 2015.
Wanker. We were cheated out of that game by that ref. 25 grand went away.
Beauty of sport. You get what you deserve.
God, that 25 grand would have helped. Fuck you, John Walsh.
Is that what we paid him?
Yeah, I think so. That was brutal, man. That was brutal.
Yeah, no, it was. It was tough, but I think we had a couple of tries disallowed, though, anyway.
Oh,
So we probably deserved to push through.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, is he done, is he?
Yeah, cut me off.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Gits, and safe trip down to Toulon and some lovely time with your boy Drew Mitchell.
Yeah, will do. Thank you. Thanks
Take care of him, mate.
Cheers, boss.
Cheers, Gits, legend.
Take it easy.
Max, quick word on Arundel's 5 tries.
Oh, here we go. Right.
What they call him, Henry V.
Henry V. You were like, patriotic ecstasy will get you places, won't it?
God.
But we have to be very careful here because this is Chile. And everyone's talking about how England's arrived. Do we think Steve Borthwick will pick Marcus Smith over Freddie Stewart? And who is he picking? George or Faz?
I think he's going Faz. I think he's putting Freddie Stewart on the wing to chase kicks.
Wow.
I genuinely think Marcus Smith stays at 15. I think he's... You look, Gits did it, didn't he? He used to play 10, 12 and 15. So suddenly he looked fucking good.
Yeah, he does look naughty, doesn't he?
And I know
Those
it was
outside
against Chile,
breaks.
but he did look good. And I'd stick Freddie Stewart on the wing and I'd have him chasing after box kicks because he's unbelievable in the air. And I'd have Marcus Smith cutting...
Would you have Henry V on the other
I'd have
edge?
Henry V on the other. I'd have Henry V, Freddie Stewart and Marcus Smith at 15. And Owen Farrell at 10 and George Ford on the bench.
Fascinating. Okay.
Maxie, what's your take? Ryan's just benched the double man of the match from the opening 2 important games.
That's wild.
He's chucked in the winger who walked 5 tries over.
Yeah, because they finally played a bit of rugby. You know what I mean? And I know it was, again, but they just went out there and played a bit of rugby. They need to do exactly the same. And if they lose, they lose.
Would you change anyone in the pack? Obviously, the pack had a huge overhaul. Anyone put their hand up for you?
Did Ben Earl start? He wasn't in.
No, he was chilling.
100%.
100% Ben Earl starts over Billy for you.
Because I don't think Villa probably did a massive amount of it.
So you're putting Ben Earl at 8 starting.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's good. And whilst we're on that, how ridiculous that he has to come out. What the world we live in now. We have to apologise for everything.
For over celebrating.
Oh, my
Mate,
God.
the thing about this guy is he's been doing that since day one.
Exactly.
Where he does the...
Oh, mate, he's when he was at Bears, when he's at Saracens, he always does it. And I kind of love him for it.
And you know, when you're in a team, you celebrate the small wins. And it was ridiculous, wasn't it? I think I can hear someone in the back.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here he is.
Oh, no, I thought you'd have the cap on.
I must grab it. It's sleeping.
So we are delighted to be joined by South African rapper Jack Parow, who somehow, in fact, actually, Jack, could you enlighten us as to how you've come into our lives? Because Ryan mentioned you on a show last year, but we'd like to get your take on what Ryan Wilson was like and how you met him.
Yeah, I was flying back from Amsterdam and on a tour, and on the plane I'd obviously had a few shows and my neck was really sore. And then I was just saw there's a bunch of rugby guys obviously on the plane, and who's better to get some pain pills from? A bunch of rugby guys. But I think they were like, who's this dodgy guy trying to scam pain pills from us?
Right, completely what I thought. Literally hadn't even taken off. This bloke has just told me he's come from Amsterdam. He's asking for drugs. I'm like, hold on a minute. What is going? And he's in business class. This must be some sort of a dealer.
Oh no! He might have, and everyone's like, no, we don't have.
Just give me some dihydrocodeine, baby. Anything. Go code them all. Oh, no, that was funny. But yeah, and a few of the boys.
Thanks for having me. It's great. I'm actually going to grab a beer down here.
Yeah. Oh, the old Paul Jerry. You're right. Cheers. And here you are with us now, about to talk about.
And I feel so cool. The biggest thing, my biggest thing was also that that Sia was on that show that you interviewed, and he was like, "Oh, that's one of my good friends," and I was like, "Thank you."
Well, we've got quite a big South African following, believe it or not. I'm not sure how it's come. Probably the guests we've had on. So we've gone all right in South Africa, and I'm hoping that you'll help us even further. What do we need before we get onto the rugby? What do we need to do to keep going with these South African followers? Because we were at Max's training centre today, and it was like something out of an X-Men film, the lair, and they were growing biltong in fridges there. I think that's a good step. We should just start eating biltong.
I think braais, and if you know how to make braais, but when you come down to South Africa, you have to come here. I've got a license. I'll show you. I've actually got this is my little braai area.
Nice.
Wow.
I'll take you for a braai. There's a nice little Springbok jersey signed.
There we are.
That's a hell of a setup.
The British Irish Lions.
Hold on, what's that
nice.
woman? I want to see the
Yeah,
woman.
go to the right over there, fella.
And my friend was like, he gave this to me because he was like, he can't hang above his fireplace anymore because he's married now. So.
Oh, how good, man. So, right, if we just get a couple braais going, then we'll be winning.
Yeah. No, but when you're down this side again, you must let me know. We'll have a braai, yeah.
We're going to South Africa, boys.
Oh,
Yeah, we're on
that's
tour.
gotta be done though.
We're on
Genuine.
tour.
We'll get down there. You can
Yeah,
you can be
podcast on tour.
you can come and help us run it. Maybe give us a little rap. Talk to us just quickly. What do you do? Because you're a South African rapper, right? But in Afrikaans. I know some bad words. That's it. I don't like badankie, asseblief.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's
Push.
not a bad word. Oh yeah, that's the one. That's my favorite. Push.
Yeah. Push. That was it.
Yeah. So I make like Afrikaans rap music, and I usually wear the super long cap. But it's difficult. Like if I have an interview and then I'm gonna hit my iPad with the cap, and it's gonna be Democard.
We just had Schalk Brits on, and he said to watch out for you. He was like, "Oh no, you're not having that guy on, boys. Be careful with what he says."
I like it. You've got all the South Africans on, man.
Hey, my brew.
for sure.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, so but that's the main. I make Afrikaans rap music, and that's what I do for a job. And I'm lucky enough to be able to travel the world and that people actually listen to it in other countries as well that don't really speak it. So it's been a lucky journey for doing it for a long time, 15 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fan base outside of South Africa?
Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
It's quite obviously the language is quite close. And then London as well is quite big. And I do like I've been to the States a bit, but it's just like it's like this time difference and stuff just messes me up so much. I rather try and stick to Europe. I like it more.
Jack, looking at your social media, you're managing to mix rugby and rap beautifully. How do you find they coexist? I think I saw you dancing. Well, first one was signing a shirt as a FAF de Klerk impersonator, and you know that you're into it at the moment. I feel like that particularly the World Cup, eh?
Yeah, no, I'm a big rugby supporter. I've been playing rugby when I was young. I played rugby. I played it long after school as well. I actually played Western Province under 21. I played Craven a week at school, which is like a competition in South Africa. I played long. I still actually played till about last year in the Take a Lot 10s, which is like that 10s tournament. But they keep just gunning for me, and I'm like 40, and they're all like 25. So it's getting a bit bad. I mean, there's some tackles online you must see, and they just like light tackle me and put me on my neck, and like, and obviously the revs aren't like the most professional. So they like miss tackles. I'm like, bro, that guy just put me straight on my neck. And no, not even a card, anything, not even a penalty. Yeah. So I really love rugby. I'm a massive rugby supporter. I don't miss a game. You know, even structure my games now around my shows around games. So I'll only play when it's done because it's obviously quite hectic now. We're at 9 o'clock a lot of the games, so I only play at 11. I tell them I don't play before 11, unfortunately.
How did you feel in that game against Ireland the other day? You were hopeful, I'm guessing, before. I was hopeful. I thought South Africa would do it and help us out, Scotland, but you boys didn't help us out. How were you after that one?
I mean, I really think we had that. We started out so well. It's like, I think the first 5 lineouts we dominated. We came through so well, but then, you know, without the, I'm a big Liverpool fan, but, you know, without a kicker, it's just like, it's like, you know, they say in cricket, catches win matches. You know, it's the same thing. If you're missing all the kicks, it's always going to be difficult. Yeah, so it's sad. I'm really sad about that. But still being said, I think with Farley coming in now, and hopefully that'll help. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm also on that. You know, remember like Australia had like John Eales. I think they should just like start letting everyone kick and just figure out someone's got to be really good at kicking and just like let them kick.
Yeah, just at the end of training one day, just one step up.
King of the hill.
Turns out Eben is fucking brilliant.
Eben could kick with his middle leg that he's got.
We've already got yeah, exactly. But we got Cheslin, we got Faf. I mean, there's more than enough talent. I think we must just stop focusing so much on obviously someone who's having a little bit of difficulty with the boot at the moment and shift it around a little bit more and get someone else. And, you know, and once again, I'm not biting him anything. I'm a big fan of him, but it's just, you know, it's obviously not working at the moment, Joe.
Jack, when you mentioned your rugby past and having got to a high level, were there any players in there that ended up doing quite well for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, even I remember playing against people like Petri Vandenberg and Schalk Brits and all of those guys. I all know them all from that time. And, you know, we always thought they were the teachers, and then they were actually playing in the team.
Oh, God.
They had like beards and stuff.
Petri.
Like 16. So, yeah.
Bro.
I enjoyed it, but I kind of got out of it. My dad also played Western Province a long time ago. Like he would have been, he's passed away, but he would have been in his 80s now. So he played still in the days when there weren't even like replacements, and he would play. He told me the one game he played, pulled his hammy, and then he kept playing, like just kind of stayed in the way. He played wing, and then he tore his second hammy as well, both his hammies torn, and then he just stayed on the field, and if someone came close, he would jump towards them and kind of try and stop them. So he had so much shit with his legs, so he was always like, if you can do anything else, do something else. Yeah.
What an advert for rugby, eh? I'll tell you what's not an advert for rugby at the moment, Australian rugby. Talk to us about that game. Did you watch that yesterday, Australia-Wales?
I watched a little bit of the highlights. I was too depressed and obviously got way too drunk after the South Africa Ireland game. So I was like wallowing on Sunday. Was it yesterday? It feels like forever. We also like have had the craziest time in South Africa because it's storms and it's flooding and everything. So it's been like quite a crazy in the Western Cape. Yeah.
Do you boys enjoy watching Aussie lose?
Yeah, I like seeing Aussies lose. South Africa's obviously it's one of our main competitors in cricket as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
So we just love to see them when they lose. Yeah.
Can the Boks win the World Cup?
100%. Don't even doubt it at all. I really think I really think we played amazing and we played really good rugby and we really felt like the better team on the day. I'm sorry, I do feel like that. I'm not being biased, but I do. I really think if we keep playing the type of rugby we're playing, it's good. We just need to sort out one part of the team. You know, even that 7-1 split, I think it was such a great. It worked so well. When they brought up that whole pack in the second half, we just once again just took it over. And just if we just could have slot those two, I mean, we left 11 points on the field. So I mean, yeah, it's just sad.
Jack, give us a ridiculous.
So, yeah, we're winning. South Africa, yes.
What's the wildest thing someone's thrown at you at one of your shows?
Many bras, many underwear, very, very much. I think that someone threw someone's ashes at me once.
That's out there.
It was really hectic and asked me to throw it on the stage.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I think that was probably the weirdest.
Get any of it in your mouth or anything like that?
Yeah,
it's like that's.
No. Luckily, it was
seen at
like
due date.
Like a little bag thing, like a Ziploc bag with like a note on for me what I should do, and I was like, wow.
Whoa.
Eat this.
Oh my God.
That is.
Have you ever had anybody come and rest the stage and you sort of got to try and act like you're okay with it?
Yeah. That happens quite often, obviously. People just get so amped and they want to jump up. But I usually do allow it and let them come up and stuff to an extent. Like, obviously, if it's becoming a little bit of a danger for, like, the gear and stuff like that, it's more a problem with the shows where they're going to, especially if they're super drunk and they're falling over everything and then it becomes a little bit of a fuck up. But things like that, I always like stop my shows if people are fighting or anything like that.
Oh, so no mosh pits?
No, well, mosh pits, yes.
Mosh pits allowed, but full fighting.
Actually, but it's like a different type of fighting. It's a accepted fighting. Everyone's like, cool.
Oh, right. So like,
yeah, it's alright. It's not like aggressively like gonna punch someone because he looked at your girl or some shit like that.
Do you do the thing where you part the crowd and like on the drop of one of your choruses of one of your songs, you just like make everyone just end each other? Like just part the Red Sea, then close it again viciously.
What happened to me a few times now after COVID, especially, I didn't realize like all the kids that were at the show, like especially the festivals, are quite young now and they haven't really been at shows before. So it was like their first time.
Yeah.
So I'm like a good 115 kgs, and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna crowd surf. Like, and everyone's like. And then I'm like, and I like run, I jump, and they're like, ah!
They have no idea what they're meant to do.
And I've hit a few, like luckily I haven't hit the ground, but I've been close to the ground. Their cool body saved me from breaking my neck.
All right.
Oh man! Oh well, listen, man, it's been awesome to have you on. Thank you so much.
Wait, can we get Jack to wait, Jack? If we just quickly, if we say to you Maul or nothing, can you give us what? Something, a lyric or something to drop, and then we can like really rudimentarily mix it into like our thing and be like, oh, look how good this is.
We need a jingle. We need a jingle.
So this
What's our jingle?
What's our
jingle? How about I'll write you guys a little jingle and I'll fucking
that would be liquor.
That's a much better vibe.
That'd be very liquor.
I'll do it.
Oh, South African
fans. I'll do a little one for the South African people.
Mate, they will love it. They will love it. Well, mate, Jackie, thank you so much for your time. So appreciated. So much fun. And we'll get you back on as well
we're coming to South Africa.
I want to hear more about your hedonistic pilgrimages.
I gotta do more drug deals on planes.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
What a legend. Cheers, Jack, man.
Cheers, Jack. That's your time, mate.
You're a legend, Boks. Thank you very much.
How good, eh? Oh, he's still here. I can hear him giggling. What a legend.
Quick word on the moment that it seems like the whole world came together. You've never had a player get injured and everybody wants him to get better.
Yeah, and everyone's suddenly like an expert on like facial injuries and Googling surgery.
Like Brad Barrett stories and stuff are coming out.
Harrenhauer Queen memes coming up left, right, and centre with the mask. Oh. What's he going to do? I was actually trying to create something for our thing with the Batman mask. Put it on
like a carbon fibre printed face mask.
At the time, it was like 56.
He was doing some weird fruity things with his foot as well.
Left foot, right foot, down, everything.
Do it all. King Midas.
To be fair, though, like, they've not got a game for ages. So if he didn't play in that game, he was going to then have like another 2 weeks of no rugby. So he had to play.
What about
But this is the worry, isn't it? This is the bloody worry.
What about Daisel just getting absolutely smoked on social media?
Yeah, but that was
That's savage, isn't it?
That's just fuck. The guy clearly his day wasn't about ruining.
And again, had to come out and apologise.
But you're right, DuPont's at that level now, though, where he's just full superstardom. In lots of elements, he's sort of bigger than rugby, strangely. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, he is. He's a legend he's the legend of this World Cup, so that's why everyone wants to see him back. And it's good because you see even all the other players and teams, everyone's saying, we want to see him back. We want to see the best players playing in the World Cup, especially in France. I bloody hope to see him back before.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you to everybody who's been writing comments, writing into us. Please continue to hit up Maul or Nothing Show on Instagram. That's where most of our content is going to be coming through. So do make sure you're on there, you're subscribed, you follow us, you like all of the stuff that we're doing. And then put some comments in, because then you'll get Wilson or Max reading some of them out. What do we got?
By the way, we have become the Fijian podcast as well. So I know we're talking up South Africa, but the Fijians are loving us, boys. I think we're going to go big in Fiji. A lot of good stuff. What am I looking for here? Great chat as always, gents. Real mates just shooting the breeze. That's what it feels like. Just shooting the breeze. A lot of people wishing me luck to find a club.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, but I was thinking about that the other day.
You need to have a word with Pat again.
I'll give him a shout, yeah.
Ryan's
Whisper sweet nothings.
I've been pretty good. You should challenge the Maul guy to a lightsaber fight for the podcast name.
I would do that for us. I will take up.
What do we got?
He's back. Rugby debuts. I love it. Thank you for coming back. I love you, Bargain Bin Pano. I will never reveal myself.
Keep trolling, baby. Keep trolling.
So, like we said, jump onto the Instagram handle and comment under there. Send us DMs, slide into our DMs, do whatever you want, because we want to interact with our fan base. We're loving this, aren't we? Absolutely delighted once again to be sponsored by Wolf Craig. And as you can see behind me, their triple sherry cask 14-year-old blend is out on Friday. So jump over to wolfcraig.com to make sure you bag yourself a bottle. I'll get a few bottles along next week, boys, so we can have a little taste. I'll bring some gin for you, Mark, and we'll drink the whiskey.
Like real bloody blokes.
Malibu. Did they do Malibu? Old Wolf Craig?
But no, honestly, thank you so much again to Wolf Craig for sponsoring us. How cool does that bottle look, by the way? You like that?
It is rather lovely. It looks quite ornate. Yeah, it looks like it should be in The Great Gatsby or something.
Do you like whiskey, Max?
I dabble.
There we go. How good. So, yeah, we'll get some of that next week and have a little taste. But jump over to wolfcraig.com, check out what they're doing. As we say every week, legendary ambassadors. But this creation, Ian McMillan and Sir Richard Patterson, OBE, legends of the whiskey game. So go check them out. wolfcraig.com.
Anyway, that is sadly all the time we've got left for this week. Huge thank you to Ryan and Max, as always, and to our three legendary guests in Matt, Jack, and Schalk. And we will see you all next week. Yowza.